Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori. Wanted to do a video, or I was guided and told to do a video on some information I received this evening and that I've been receiving in the last 24 hours regarding the intense energetic activations or energetic light frequencies that the human physical form is receiving right now. So the past 5 or 6 days up until probably the end of this month, we are receiving a huge amount of light inside of our physical body. And so I wanted to share about what came through regarding the intensity of this light right now, where it's coming from, and what's happening in the physical body and what you may be experiencing in your normal everyday life right now. So first, I just wanted to explain a little bit about how I receive information. So I say this, I think, in most of my videos, but I receive information from higher frequency light beings. Which are beings just like ourselves, except they reside in a much higher frequency, and they have been participating with the Earth's evolution since the moment she was conceived and formed. And they've been a huge part of the Earth's process and path and journey. And so these are my guides. These are who I receive information from, and it's an energetic sort of download that comes through from them. And it's a translation that I receive, and so that's where I get all my information, and as well as my sessions within my client sessions, I receive a lot of information there as well. So this came through the last 24 hours, and I felt like it was really important to share because I think it will give a little bit of a better explanation in terms of a more like elementary explanation of what is going on right now for a lot of us. If this video resonates with you, fabulous, watch it. If it doesn't resonate with you, please just turn it off. Not everything is going to resonate with everyone. And so this video may or may not resonate with you, and that's beautiful. So first, let me just go into a little bit about the Earth really quickly. The Earth designed herself. So the Earth is a conscious being of light, and she designed herself through an intent and energy. And she was assisted by all these other consciousnesses and light beings to design her in a 5th dimensional frequency. And she was designed to go from a 5th dimension to a 7th dimension, and that was supposed to be her ascension, but she ended up falling down into the 3rd dimension, and now she's moving back up to the 5th. That's a totally different story that I'll tell at another time. The reason I'm bringing this up, though, is because in her design, and in her creation of this amazing 5th dimensional sort of playground, she also designed and created the sun. And the sun is another living being. It's a consciousness. Anything that resides in these universes, right, and anything that is of any substance has a consciousness, has an energy, has a frequency and a vibration, is of the light, right? It all came from source, which is light or love. The sun was designed and kind of was co-created by the Earth. And so the sun holds a consciousness, a frequency, a vibration, is a light. Now, the way they showed me the sun, understanding the sun is a very high frequency consciousness. So you can imagine we're a 3rd dimensional consciousness. Lemurians are a 5th dimensional consciousness. The Palladians, which a lot of you know, are a 7th to a 12th dimensional consciousness, depending upon where they're spinning, but they reside within that space. The angelic realm is typically between a 12th and a 24th dimensional space, right? It depends. So the higher the dimension, the less form, the more energy spinning, and the more light it is containing. So you imagine let's just imagine as an example, you have an angelic being in your living room right now, and it's vibrating around a 15th dimension. So what does that mean? It means that it is mostly light. So if you were to be able to see it, from your third dimensional eyes, you would see it as a clear form. So it doesn't, there's nothing like dense about it. You would be able to see kind of right through it, and it would be really bright, right? Be super, super bright. Now the sun, imagine putting about 100,000 15th dimensional angels into a consciousness like the sun, okay? So the sun is holding a huge amount of light as a consciousness, and it is existing in a third dimensional reality with us. So it's existing in a form, it has a density, it has a casing, it has a hold. There's almost like it's in a round bowl or something, right? There's a matrix of third dimension around it. Not the same as ours, but it does exist it exists in many different dimensions, but the way we see it through our third dimensional eyes is a dense ball of light. But you can imagine that there are hundreds of thousands of angelic beings held in that consciousness, which is why it is so bright. It's not just one consciousness holding one vibration and one light energy. It is a vast amount of light that is being held and contained in a third dimensional space right now for us. I don't want to go into what it would look like if we were in a higher dimension, because everything looks different if you're shifted into a higher frequency. If we were existing in a fifth dimensional vibration, the sun would look very different. The sun wouldn't look dense the way it looks, okay? Totally different subject though. So for our eyes, here is a dense ball holding a huge amount of frequency and consciousness and light. Again, imagine just pouring 100,000 15th dimensional angelic beings vibrating at a high frequency into the sun. The sun was designed by the earth for two main things. One, to keep the earth alive and all of her inhabitants alive, and to assist the earth in shifting in through her evolution, through her ascension process. So remember, the earth designed herself to move. This is why she created herself. Remember that she is a light being just like us. She chose an experience just like us, okay? And so she wanted to go from fifth dimension to seventh dimension, okay? And so she designed a being, a consciousness, a frequency to assist this entire process with her. And of course, the sun is a consciousness and agreed to it, okay? So the sun came down, or the sun was co-created with the earth to not only keep her alive and all the inhabitants, but to bring in light frequencies much higher than her own for her to shift. Now, from a third dimensional perspective, this doesn't really make sense. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go from fifth to seventh? That doesn't make sense. None of it, from our own kind of mental capacity to grasp it and understand this, it doesn't make sense. But this is what the earth wanted to experience. Can a matter of lower frequency that is dense, okay? You're not in a high frequency shifting. You're shifting from a very low, dense frequency. Fifth dimension is still very low. It still has density and form to it. Can a form holding light shift? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What is that experience like? That's what she wanted. So here's the sun holding all this consciousness, all this light, high frequency light, for the sole purpose of keeping her alive and bringing in the light that she needs to shift her. So when we ourselves, let's bring it to our reality right now. Many of you probably hear the term, light codes coming down, or light frequencies coming down, or we're getting activated, we're receiving down, light frequencies, whatever it is that the spiritual teachers use, right? It's coming from the sun, which some of us know, some of us don't know, but most of it is coming from the sun. And it is high frequency light, literally. So what has been happening in the last 5 days, okay, is that this light that's coming down is, first of all, in a higher frequency, so we can't see it. You have to understand that you can only see what you're vibrating at, okay? And so the frequencies that are coming down from the sun are at a much higher frequency. Thus, the reason for assisting us in a shifting into that fifth dimensional space that we're moving into. We can't see the fifth dimensional vibration and space and frequency and energy yet until we're vibrating at it ourselves within our own physical form. And so what's been happening is, what the last 5 or 6 days, imagine, this isn't what it looks like, but imagine a tube, okay? A tube that's going from the sun straight down into a physical form. And what has been happening is the light that has been coming in, it's not that it's spinning faster, right? Sometimes when we get activations or light codes coming in, it'll spin really fast to speed up our frequency. That's not what's happening right now. What's happening right now is so crazy and intense. What's happening is, what is the amount of light that's being poured into that tube, so to speak, coming into our body is 10 times the amount of light that has been coming in before. So it's the same frequency that's coming in, okay? It's the same speed that's been coming in, but it is way more. So you can imagine that what's been happening is that we've been getting like a straw, right? This is a better way to explain it. There's a straw that's been coming in, the light's been coming through that straw. And sure, there's been some rattling. Our physical bodies have been going through the ascension symptoms and all these things, right? And the reason for this small amount to come in is because our physical bodies have to acclimate and hold these higher frequencies. So what happens is, first the mental body and the emotional bodies begin to acclimate and hold and move through the denser stuff. So these light energies come in, these light frequencies come in, these light codes come in, basically just energy or light moving through the subtle bodies first, the emotional and the mental bodies. They come through, they start flushing things out. We start becoming acutely aware of our thoughts, our beliefs, our paradigms, all these things. We really start to recognize our emotions, all these emotional patterns, these emotional systems that we've been holding, the density of it, the past that has connected to it, all these things, right, that we've been learning and processing and moving through, healing and clearing. That's because the energy that's coming through is at a higher vibration. Imagine a straw coming through. It moves through the emotional and mental bodies, and it starts flushing out. The physical body is the harder one to start to assimilate. It's the last one basically to catch up because it is the most dense. It is the most physical. It is the most third dimensional. And so the straw has been bringing in this light. The emotional body has been clearing out. The mental body has been clearing out. We're starting to hold a little bit more frequency, shifting into these fifth and fourth and fifth dimensional spaces and then coming back down, because the physical body is very slowly starting to acclimate as well, right? That's where you get the ascension symptoms, the headaches, the dizziness, the fatigue, the inability to kind of deal with lights and sounds and technological things like computers, things like that. Very sensitive. All these things that many of us have been feeling throughout the last couple of years. That's the body acclimating to the light coming through. Now, what is happening is, imagine that straw has now opened up into a tube, okay? And so what has been coming into us the last 5 days is such a huge amount of light that it has, for many of us, literally thrown us to the ground. Like, if you've been in a very kind of aligned, blissful, kind of like flowing state, like things are good, I feel my higher self, I'm totally connected to my guides, things are going well, I'm connected to my purpose, all of a sudden, the last 5 days, you've been slammed to the ground, like You've been picked up and thrown to the ground, and you are dense. You are heavy. You are lethargic. You are tired. You could be dizzy. You may have headache. You may be frustrated and angry. You can feel completely detached from everything, right? So you may even feel like, wait a second, how could I feel this low? I've been doing all this work. I've been feeling so connected and aligned. All of a sudden I feel nothing, like I'm completely alone in the world, right? What's happening is that your physical body is beginning to hold this huge amount of light. And so you are physically having to come all the way down into your physical body more than you ever have and get heavy, almost like you're in quicksand, because your bones, your joints, your muscles, your blood, the DNA, your cells, every aspect of your physicality is literally starting to turn on and receive more light. And so it is exhausted. It can't do anything other than start to assimilate, hold, pull in, and access that light that's turning your light on. So if you can imagine, if you can look inside and you know that you have a light body, right? You've got this beautiful light body inside of you, and it's very dim for most of us. Okay, and it's starting to turn on little clicks. As we shift into higher states of consciousness, the light body starts to get a little bit brighter, a little bit brighter. It's like one of those lights that you can slowly turn, and as you're slowly turning the knob, the light starts to get brighter and brighter and brighter inside your physical form. That's what's happening for ascension, right? Or the awakening process. But what has happened in these last 5 days, as this huge jolt of light came down, is that the physical body, the part of us that has the hardest time holding this light, has to start holding it. Has to start holding it. The blood, the muscles, the bones, it's got to start to shift and turn into more light, less density. It's literally physically shifting you guys out of a dense form into light. So this is shifting. This is ascension. Ascension. This is it. But this is the physical part of it, not the mental, not the emotional, not the high frequency bliss states. This is the physical part of the human physical form moving from dense matter to light. This is what it happens. This is what it feels like. It's happening right now to us. We just don't know because we can't see it. So we think we're going crazy. We think we're super sick. We think we have problems with our minds and our head and our memory and our stomachs and we know we have flu symptoms and you can't get out of bed and we're going to the doctors. We think there's all these problems wrong with us. Nobody else is experiencing it. This is your physical form, your dense physical form shifting into light. This is what we have designed to experience. This is what we're here to do. This is it. But this is the physical part of it. This is the part where, I mean, I don't know what's harder. It's all hard, right? In terms of like not being able to control any of it and having to just move with it and not understanding it, right? We don't necessarily understand it. So you're imagining that you've got this light body that's dim, and the physical aspect of you, the dense aspect of you, has to start to move out of density and into light. So when people talk about your DNA turning from carbon-based to crystalline, all that means, you guys, is dense physical form. Your DNA holds very third-dimensional, dense form. And it holds within it a light aspect, just like our own body. We have a physical form, and within that physical form is a light body. It's the same with your DNA. Your DNA is dense, but within that DNA, the way we've designed it is that there is light inside the DNA that's going to open up and awaken, and we are going to shift into a crystalline or a light DNA codes, right? It has to. Cellular structures, very dense, they are turning into more light. And as this starts to happen, of course we know we're going to start turning into more of a multidimensional being. We are moving from, this is a form literally shifting out of its current form into a lighter, higher frequency form. That's what's happening right now. So, if you have been feeling dizzy, lightheaded, completely alone, sick to your stomach, nauseous, exhausted, lethargic, you can't go out into public, lights are bothering you, music is bothering you, you can't watch television, people are bothering you, conversations are bothering you, you kind of need to cocoon yourself, you feel completely alone. I think I said that earlier. The list goes on and on and on right now, but it's very physical. It's very physical. And what is also happening is that we are teetering between one extreme and the other. So you may also be having these experiences of everything feels great and then everything sucks within like 12 days or 12 hours. Everything's great, everything sucks. Everything's great again, everything sucks. Because your body, your physical form is trying to acclimate all this light that's coming in. Your emotional and mental bodies are a little bit higher frequency than the physical form, okay? Because they've already been able to acclimate a little bit more of this frequency and this energy. And so you're going back, we're being pulled in these back and forth patterns right now because the body's pulling us down. We have to be in our bodies. We're being literally pummeled basically to the density of what we actually live in so that our bodies can assimilate this. We're being it's like I keep seeing this like wrestler, right? You know how the wrestlers like pick the person up over the head and then throw them down on the ground? That's what's been happening to us in the last 5 or 6 days. And will continue until the end of this month of November. They pick us up and throw us to the ground. And we're being like, why am I feeling so low? Why am I feeling so dense? Why am I feeling so disconnected and heavy and slow? Because your physical form is trying its darndest to hold on and receive and shift, assimilate the intense energies that are coming straight down through that tube. It's so much more than normal that it's an overload, basically. But it's important. It's necessary. Obviously, it's necessary. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. So when you hear people saying this is a time where there are light codes coming down or light frequencies or portals opening where there's more light coming in. It's coming from the sun. The sun is a conscious being. The sun is working with the earth. The earth designed the sun. And we're all connected. We all hold the same frequency, the same light within us. We're all one, right? We're all together doing this. We're just the densest ones of all, having to physically move through it. So the sun is serving us in so many amazing, beautiful ways. The sun is serving us and assisting us and helping us, right? And the earth plane. So that's basically what's happening. That's the download I received about the sun and the light coming into our physical forms. I share this with you tonight on November 25th, and I'm going to upload it tonight as well, because I want people to understand they're not alone. You're not alone if you're feeling completely isolated and alone. You're not crazy if you feel depressed or sad or angry, or if you feel like you're completely disconnected. You're not. You're not. If you have been feeling complete bliss and alignment and like, God, I feel my star families or I feel my higher self, and then all of a sudden you've shifted into this really low state, it's okay. This is perfect. You're okay. If you're going up and down on that roller coaster ride, it's okay. It's perfect. Your body, your physical form, your organs, your blood, your cells, your DNA, it's time for that part of us to start to shift. It has to. It's the hardest aspect of us to shift. It's going to feel the most intense. You thought the emotional body shifting and the mental body shifting was tough. Oh, the physical form is really tough. So don't beat yourself up if you find yourself needing to lay in bed for the entire day. Honor yourself. Give yourself that. If you have no appetite, it's okay. Try not to judge yourself, right? There's something wrong with me. I don't want to eat today. It's okay. Or, oh my God, all I want to do is consume food, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, all these things that are not right or not good for me. Give it to yourself. There is a much bigger picture happening other than the right foods to eat, the right behavior to do, the right thing to do. If you don't want to go hang out with somebody for the day, please don't do it. Honor what you need. Honor what's going on in your own physical form. If you feel defeated, it's okay. You're going to step back up. You're going to get up off that, wrestling match thing, whatever they call it, mat. You're going to stand back up. We're all going to stand back up. And when we do stand back up, we're going to be in a higher vibration. We're going to be more aligned. We're going to be more connected from the physical aspect of us. And it's kind of, we can't feel it really. Maybe we can, but not the same way as our emotional. We can feel when we clear out more emotions, right? And you can feel it when you clear out more of your mental capacities. You start to understand paradigms. You start to step out of old beliefs. There's more stuff you can kind of hold. When the physical body shifts, you can feel it when it's shifting in the sense that I feel sick to my stomach, or I feel dizzy, I feel nauseous. Lights are bothering me, sounds, I have ringing in my ears, I just want to sleep, those kinds of things, right? But when you step out of it and you're in a higher vibration, you're not necessarily going to feel your physical form in a higher vibration. You're not going to feel your blood in a higher vibration. You're not going to feel your organs in a higher vibration. You're not going to get the same type of sicknesses or illnesses. The other thing that you might be feeling is a lot of aches and pains, a lot of stress in the body, right? So be aware of what you're feeling, but just know that there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. And when we come out of this sort of pause in high frequency energy coming down, when we step out of this space and start to move again, your physical body, the form, the organs, the blood, the muscles, the cells, the DNA, it will be in a little bit higher frequency. And this is going to happen over and over again. This isn't the first and only time. This is going to happen again and again and again because we are nowhere near the fifth dimension. I've said this before in my videos. A fifth dimensional body is much clearer than this density. You can almost see through the hand of a fifth dimensional being. So we have a lot of work to do in terms of holding higher frequencies of energy inside our physical form. We've got a lot of work to do. We're not close, but this is the start of really intense energies coming in. And the more you can honor that and relax and breathe, the less stressful it will be for you. So the next time you read from different spiritual teachers talking about, I think they call them light codes or high frequency light coming in, or stargates opening for lights. I don't know. You guys know more than me. But when they say those things, right? This is what's happening. This is what's happening. And I think that it's going to be focused more on our physical form right now so that our physical form can start to catch up to the mental and emotional form that's already shifting a little bit higher frequency. So be gentle with yourselves. Know that you're not alone. Know that you're going to get up off that wrestling mat and stand up again and be in a higher frequency, whether you can feel that or not. Know that this is all designed perfectly, and at the exact same time, you can have all your human emotions around it. Just try not to judge yourself. Try not to judge yourself or judge your experiences. I was in bed for 2 straight days. I think I got out of my house once to go get a coffee, and I didn't eat anything. I had like half a bagel. And I just allowed myself to be in that. And there were definitely those thoughts of, oh, you need to go to yoga, or oh, you should go exercise to move your body, or oh, you should go do whatever it was, right? It was like, no. I had ringing, I had dizziness, I had hot flashes. I couldn't get on my phone. I couldn't respond to email. So the other thing that might happen is like your mental capacity just kind of shuts down. I mean, having conversation can be difficult. Trying to put sentences together can be difficult. And also know that if this isn't happening to you right now, there is still a huge amount of light coming in, but we're all very unique. So we're going to process it in our own unique ways. Okay? So don't judge yourself if you're like, well, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel those things. Is there something wrong with me? How come I didn't feel what she was saying? It's okay. That tube is still coming in. Your body is just assimilating it in whatever way that it needs to assimilate it. I'm just talking to those that may be feeling these symptoms, and this is why. So there's nothing wrong with you not feeling the symptoms, okay? It doesn't mean that you're not grabbing that energy as well and assimilating it. So don't try not to say, I think a lot of us watch these videos and we watch people talking and we're like, oh my God, I'm not feeling that. There's something must be wrong with me. Well, if I'm not feeling that, then I must not be shifting. That means that I'm behind, or whatever it is that we do. No, we're all unique. We're all unique. There's billions of us going through this in our own unique way. If this is what you're experiencing, I'm just sharing one of the things that is happening and why this is happening, why you're experiencing these things. And if you're not, congratulations, you don't need to right now. There may be a time down the road in 3 months where you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm feeling what she was talking about. There's no race. We're all shifting into a 5th dimensional frequency. Our bodies are going to be in a different space. We're all doing it. All doing it. And thank you for being here and doing it. It's crazy what's happening right now. It's almost like, holy cow, it's actually happening. And I think I say this in most of my videos right now, but that's because I can't believe it's actually happening. We're physically moving from a dense form into a light body. Like, it's actually happening. We're doing it right now. This is it. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it brought a little bit more understanding as to what this all means in a more fundamental and elementary way. And so when it happens again, because it will, over and over again, it's going to keep happening. When it happens again, when you start to hear teachers say, or spiritual guides out there talk about, freak you guys, I can't remember the names of it, but I think it's like light codes, light activations, sunbursts or something like that. I'm so sorry, but I don't read a lot of stuff, so I don't know what the terms they use. But I know that there are people, I'm sure there's people talking about it out there and describing it. So this is what they're talking about in a nutshell. And our physical bodies, we are going to be slammed down over and over again, right? Slammed down. And it's okay, because we're going to get back up. We have to be slammed down so that we can stop, quiet, and let our physical bodies do this. Eventually, we won't be so slammed down because our physical bodies will begin to assimilate more and more and more of the light. And so we'll start to get used to it, just like our emotional bodies and our mental bodies started to get used to it, right? 2 years ago, when we started flushing out, or 3 years ago, or whenever you started flushing out your mental and emotional bodies with more light, it was insane what we were going through, right? Even this past year has been insane in the emotional and mental bodies. But eventually, we start to teeter out. It's not so intense, right? You start to find that middle ground. The bodies, the mental and emotional bodies, start to be able to hold higher frequencies of light. So then when the light's coming in, it doesn't rattle it as much because it's already been clearing itself out for a while. physical body is starting to really get rattled. And so that's what's happening now. It's physical body time. Physical body time. And so there's going to be a lot of rattling. And eventually it will be holding more and more and more light. The DNA is shifting. The cells are shifting. The organs are shifting. The blood is shifting. The tendons are shifting. Everything's shifting inside of us. And so when more and more light comes, it'll be less and less intense eventually. Okay, this video was 35 minutes, so I'm going to get off. Thank you guys. I love you all so much for being part of this YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for liking this video. And please, if there are people in your world, in your community that are going through anything that I've explained, and this resonates and makes sense to you, please pass this video on to them so that they can have a little bit more awareness of what's going on. And they may resonate and they may not resonate, but at least providing them the opportunity to hear and maybe resonate with it is such a great gift. There's a lot of people that are struggling and don't understand what's going on. So the more information we have, the easier it is to move through it. I love you all so much. Thank you again for being here. It means the world to me. And I'll see you next time.